On this episode of DTMS, David and I sit down and watch X-Men First Class and answer the question, does this movie suck? Does this movie suck? Does this movie suck? Does it suck? Welcome to Does This Movie Suck? I'm your humble host, Chris Keenan.
And I'm David.
We're going to dive into X-Men The Last Stand.
X-Men First Class,
X-Men
not
First
Last
Class.
Stand.
The other one that I don't like. The thing with X-Men First Class is you guys have been bitching for like 3 movies now that it didn't live up to First Class standards, and I'm here to tell you, First Class sucks too.
I genuinely enjoy the movie.
Or, I'm sorry, I was here to tell you that, I don't want to spoil anything. Maybe I might have. I'm here to tell you that the first one kind of sucked too, in my original, maybe still opinion, quote unquote, question mark.
No, this movie for me was always it's nothing to write home about. I mean, it's
Yeah, but now we live in a world where there are superhero films that are something to write home about.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
But that's, I don't know. It's apples and oranges.
every character we know now, for the most part, that we liked from comic books, are the ones that are at least synonymous in our in the pantheon of pop culture, have kind of been tapped into.
Oh, absolutely. They're at this point in our I guess trek through comic book movie ages.
Uh-huh.
We're at a point where they've oversaturated the market and they're not real sure where to go now. Now that the Avengers Endgame has ended, the game is no longer afoot.
Right.
What do we do now?
Correct.
But it's it's one of those things that I think the community as a whole is looking for new ideas, which it never goes over very well. And that's where we're sort of starting back at the beginning, because First Class was, I would say it's the reboot for comic book movies. We got a little silly with things like Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four, yeah.
We had the third X-Men movie, which was that Last Stand?
Last Stand was
Yeah,
the third. Yeah, Last Stand.
Where we were just completely off the rails.
But don't forget, this came out after Origins too, which nobody wants to talk about.
Again, we were in that weird silly phase where we were still trying to make them a comic.
Right.
And this movie suffered because of that, but I think also changed the direction in a better direction. I mean, you still had the Marvel Universe going on, I believe, at the same time.
It was about right around the same time that they were really getting kicked into the Marvel Universe.
And so we saw a valiant attempt for a company that wasn't Marvel or now Disney.
It is Disney now.
It's re-Disney. But that's because everything becomes Disney. But this is before, Fox had their misses, and they continued to miss for quite a while. And I think it was better than it had been. So it was a step in the right direction.
Better than it had been, meaning maybe Origins? But I don't know if it was better than 1 or 2, X-Men wise.
X-Men 1 and I believe the second one was fairly enjoyable. But the third one, I mean, again, we took a real downturn with that third one.
Well, listen, when you have to start digging or tapping into memes from the internet to use Juggernaut in your movie...
Which, again, I didn't even mind that. That was relevant at the time, but again, dates that movie horribly.
It just didn't sound good coming out of Vinnie Jones's mouth.
Because
I'm sorry.
That wasn't Juggernaut in that movie.
Right.
Juggernaut was never a mutant. It was a big part of his story, his background, and they ruined that.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a lot of things they shouldn't have done. There was a lot of
Remember when comic book movies were afraid to explain things to the normies, the fucking
know.
casuals?
and then they did it too often. Some of the things they didn't need to explain, like we didn't need another Spider-Man origin.
No.
But we got one.
Yeah.
I'm sure
It's
we
okay to
got
see
about 6 of them.
It's okay to see Martin Sheen get shot, though. I'm okay with that.
I mean, poor Uncle Ben at this point.
I would have loved to seen the turnaround where it was Aunt May that got killed. Like, why can't we do that version of the Spider-Man
We need the
lore?
what if of Marvel.
Right. Oh, no. Screw it. Why don't we do, what if Peter Parker was killed and Uncle Ben was bitten by a spider?
Yeah. Let's just flip all the roles. So
it's just Uncle Ben just waving his finger at kids and while hanging off of a building saying, "Don't do that, young man."
standing on the post of his porch while he screams at them to get off his lawn.
Oh, please, can we get a 70-year-old racist Spider-Man, please?
I think that's in the sequel to Spider-Verse.
That's definitely... Listen, that's where that Spider-Man is going.
Yeah.
The sweatpants Spider-Man.
That's Peter B. Parker.
Peter, yeah.
Later on down the road.
But aren't all the Peter Parkers Peter B. Parker?
I
Because
don't know.
Peter Benjamin Parker.
Yeah, but they had to associate
I know.
somehow.
Because he's the B
'Cause
Spider-Man.
now we're old.
To the BLACK Spider-Man. I get it now.
So we watched First Class.
First Class.
And so I actually took notes this time.
You took notes.
Because I had not been taking notes. I pretended.
Because we needed the show to go 3 hours this time.
No, see, I didn't. I probably won't remember what context some of these sentences are in, but I'll throw them out there anyway.
I did the same thing.
I do have to say, when I started the movie, it's Fox, so they play the Fox fanfare. Dun-dun, dun-dun. You can listen to that 22 times before it gets obnoxious.
How do you know that?
I've done tests. Me and a good friend of mine, when we were much younger, had a Star Wars CD, which had the Fox fanfare as track 1.
Wait, hold on. The soundtrack?
Oh, yes.
It had... Wait, what soundtrack? It was a score, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the music from the movie.
So the CD itself had the Fox fanfare?
On a 3-disc set, CD set. Thank
Who
you.
does that?
So
Wait, no. The only way that would be better is if before that or after, I can't remember when the THX thing starts, but that should have played too.
No, it was just the Fox fanfare. I don't know why it was on there, but we put it on repeat just to see how many times we could listen to it before we decided that it was too much. It was 22
22.
times. So it's a fact.
25 if it's the Ralph Wiggum version from the Simpsons
yes,
movie.
Yes, you get a little extra because the first 2 or 3 you don't hear.
It's so
You're
adorbs.
So that was my first note.
All right.
You can see where this is going.
My first note was this movie might be better, in my opinion, if they would have separated it from the other X-Men movies. But instead of separating it from the X-Men movies, they give us the exact opening that we got from X-Men 1 with the parents being taken away in Poland and him freaking out and tearing the fence away. And then we get more of that.
Yep. And we give a little depth to it, to what it was. And I think they did that because it's not supposed to be a sequel. It's not supposed to continue anything. It's supposed to restart. So they're starting
by showing us the exact same shit we saw in the first movie.
I don't know.
How do you read that? Listen, they could have given him a different story. I would have been fine with it.
Which but they couldn't. They did sort of give it a different story.
Yeah, and we'll get into what I think about that story as we go further.
It was. I mean, it's again. Fox has a bad habit of. We need to see Spider-Man's origin for the 68th time.
Yeah, but the thing about Magneto, everybody and their mother knows Superman's planet exploded and he gets sent to Earth. We've seen that a million times.
Yes.
We know that Peter Parker gets killed. We know, or Peter Parker's uncle gets killed because of his mishap of not catching a bad guy earlier on. We know that Batman's parents get killed. We've seen all those things done multiple times in movies. Magneto can have any backstory. You can change that. He doesn't need to be a fucking Nazi survivor or a Holocaust survivor.
They should update things. And I agree, but to me it wasn't a check against. It just
the
felt
only
like,
check against it to me was the fact that it's not separating itself from the other X-Men movies immediately. It's telling me, oh, hey, remember that thing you saw?
remember?
Exactly. Remember?
And I have to say I didn't remember because I haven't seen that first X-Men movie.
That movie is burned into my brain, dude. That
75,000
changed my
years.
fucking life, that movie. The original X-Men movie.
Really?
Yeah. Well, think about it. We had the X-Men cartoon, and everybody who loves anything in this world in our age, in our 30s, love that X-Men cartoon.
Oh, absolutely.
It's one of the most adult comic book movies or shows ever made. It's the they would just adapt stories from the comics straight to the
great. The X-Men mid-90s X-Men Saturday morning Fox TV show was phenomenal.
Right.
But that whole block of TV was they were doing it right cuz I think they had more freedom back then. Oh, that theme. Yeah, I mean, and that and the arcade machine. You had that side-scrolling arcade machine.
I love those kind of games too. They're so stupid and so just coin-munching games, but they're fantastic.
But we love it. And I mean, the Sega version of it was, hours upon hours. And maybe that's why I didn't even care for the intro again. I was just like, yep, it's happening.
Here's the other thing that drives me nuts about this movie, and we can kind of bounce around in these first few minutes of it, because they just throw so many character interactions and kind of introductions at us, because we get the one that we have seen, and then now they're going to tie in the fact that Raven and Charles knew each other, or Mystique and Charles knew each other as kids, even though they never... If you just told me that the first movie is part of this, or this is part of the first movie, which it clearly is if you're recreating the very first scene of that movie, and then you show me that these characters that we saw in that first movie that don't even look at each other like they fucking know each other, and apparently they were close family members in a sense.
Yeah, I think they were, and I felt the same way about Superman Man of Steel. What was the most recent Superman movie where it's just Superman?
Man of Steel.
Yeah, Man of Steel. I felt the same way where they attempted to give him a little reasoning as to why he treats other characters the way he does.
Kevin Costner wants him to be an asshole. That's the point of the movie. It should have just been called Superman. Kevin Costner wants him to be an asshole. The movie.
And we get why Superman wants to be Superman. And in this, we have spent years watching Mystique and Magneto and all of them fight each other. They all have deadly powers.
Right.
Why haven't any of them killed each other? Well, now we know, because they were all at one point friends. They all understand where the other one's coming from, and they're like, I'll beat the crap out of you, but damn it, I can't kill you.
I just assumed that's because it was a comic book thing, and they don't... Well, in the comic book cartoons, they didn't kill each other.
We're adults now. We have to give reasoning to things.
People have to die.
we have to give reasoning. There has to be an explanation now.
Right.
That's the way I viewed it, and it's I don't mind that depth of character. It's never bothered me in any way. Mm-hmm. Giving them a hey, we're tied at the hip, but we still hate each other.
I just don't know if I see that as a full-on excuse to introduce these characters as people who knew each other forever, almost, and then not even bat an eye when they see each other in 30, 40 years in the future.
It also helps to generate conflict for the movie later on.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I really do, but it's just like a stretch.
It's like, lazy. You know what it is? It's lazy writing.
It's like sewing Ryan Reynolds or Deadpool's mouth shut.
Yeah, it's lazy writing. It's taking, we're going to take all of the characteristics of a generic script, and we're gonna insert these characters into it.
It was a very generic comic book movie, honestly.
Because back then Fox had a formula.
Well, it's because it was Matthew Vaughn, and they didn't let him use one F-bomb or have anybody have their faces busted open.
And I did. I'm not bringing this movie up to modern day standards by any stretch of the imagination. My take on it was, it is what it is. I didn't hate the fact that I watched it. I saw it. It was memorable. I remember quite a few things about it. Going back and rewatching it, I went, yeah, I pretty much had it nailed down.
Well, watching this movie, what I saw, especially in the first 20 minutes of the movie, was I remember when X-Men Origins Wolverine came out, they were going to do a whole slew of them.
Yeah.
They were going to do a Magneto one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the opening of this felt like, was they took a lot of those ideas that they had, and they used them, but then they had to pepper in more story.
Yeah.
Because the Magneto shit was amazing.
Yeah.
I love everything they did with that character.
I love how he gets instant karma.
I just want to know how he went from talking like this to talking like this, Charles.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was one of the things.
Can we tie all this in? Like, can we please
tie it into what?
Like, no, I'm talking to the movie. Like, can we make this make fucking sense?
Well, the whole movie, he's got like a Scottish accent.
No, that's the other problem. No, he doesn't. He has a British accent until the end of the movie. That Scottish starts coming out.
Is that what it is? Because I started noticing it, and I'm like,
especially near the end. Oh yeah, on the beach, the whole beach scene. That's all fucking Scottish.
He's the most Scottish German I've ever heard. Because we know he was German.
I'm from Dusseldorf.
I know.
Look at me.
Did they round up Scots
in
the Holocaust as well?
Hey, donkey, they're taking me to the fucking gas chamber.
Also, one of the notes that I have written down.
He's got notes, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know. Maybe it was just the intoxicants. But
that always helps.
But I wrote down for the scene where they bring him in, and he's like, "You got to move the coin." Uh-huh. That scene, I just wrote, "Those pants are the real war crime." Because he is wearing pants that are like 12 sizes too large with suspenders.
No, having Kevin Bacon do a really good German accent and then talk very American for the rest of the fucking film. No, that's the fucking real war crime. God, I wish he would have fucking shot the dog and his cousin/wife and then himself after that point. Jesus Christ.
I'm going to throw this out there.
Look it up, kids. It's Hitler. That was Hitler.
If anybody knows why this is, because I was too lazy to Google it, his ID number that they've tattooed on him is 21484. So if that's relevant to anything, which I'm sure it's not, because I don't.
Who knows? It might be a fucking.
Is it an Easter egg? I don't know. Could it be? Should it be? Yes, but it's probably not.
Well, like I said,
where are we going?
No, like I said, the entire first 20 minutes of this movie is just jumping around from character to character to character to character to character to character.
And do we get him going to the bar to pick up women?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Okay, we get that. We get that scene.
We get Charles Xavier super into mutations, quote unquote, because he will point out any kind of mutation later on when he meets the CIA agent and he mentions the mutation being her brunette hair.
It's his shtick. It's his pickup.
Oh, line. I get it because he has a whole fucking rehearsed thing that I didn't care to write down,
which apparently works, even though in real life it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work at all,
or not with the people you'd want it to work with.
That's what you get. You get the opening of X-Men 1, then you get Charles and Raven meeting in the mansion and kind of establishing their powers like we didn't already know what they were.
And Raven totally gets friend-zoned, which I didn't know you could friend-zone women.
Real quick. Yeah. Like real goddamn quick.
Yeah, like right in her face.
Plus, here's the movie I want to see. I want to see how Charles hides the little girl from the servants and the people and things like that throughout the movie. I can see how he would do it. Have him pretend to be one that's not around, or pretend to be the mom, or him, depending.
That would have been cool to show them like a little bit more growing up together.
That's the fucking movie I want to see. You remember those sister episodes where they had to go on like dates and stuff? And like he bogs himself down with two girls, so now she's got to go on a date with one of the girls as him.
Yeah.
But she's screwing everything up because she doesn't know his shtick.
Oh man, that is. Oh yeah. Now we need some side story with that.
I should be writing films, man. Yeah. So it jumps to that, and then it jumps back to Eric Lenscher in the camp, and Kevin Bacon making him.
Well, at that point, he's hunting down the Nazis.
Well, no, I'm saying how we get to the bar, and yeah, now he's hunting. Yeah. He's hunting down Shaw, which he's calling because he's calling himself Shaw now, and not
he's hunting
Germany
Nazis.
name. He's specifically looking for.
He's a Nazi hunter now.
That's the other movie I'd want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see the movie where Eric Lencher goes on a Nazi hunting spree.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the scene in the bar in, I don't fucking remember, Amsterdam, I think, right?
No, it's in
Austria.
Argentina.
Argentina. It's a
South
place
America.
That starts with A. I got it close, okay? By saying
You're gonna Australia.
America. Fuck yeah. Yeah, in Argentina, that scene with the Nazis. And he stabs the dude in the hand and shoots the other guy by other guys.
He pulls out the dude's tooth.
Yeah. To get the information.
But we
Kevin Bacon.
We see at this point that he's not totally the bad guy yet.
No.
He has bad tendencies, but he did leave that dude. Like, he didn't just murder the bank guy. He could have just flat out murdered him.
Right.
Which I thought would have even been a cool scene if he pulls the thing out of his, out of his
just
tooth.
blips it right into his forehead.
Like, I could kill you. Oh, wait, I will. And then he like shoots him with it or something. You know?
But then the forehead thing would have just became his shtick. Spoilers.
Maybe the spine thing. Oh, no.
Oh, no. But that wasn't his fault. We'll get there. It wasn't his fault. I don't blame anybody for that, but the heat of the moment.
And then we see the FBI agent.
Yeah. What? Oh, fuck. What's her name? I didn't care. Moira.
Okay.
Moira McTaggart?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember things.
Like a cheesy early 2000s action game.
It sounds like
Eidos.
No, it sounds like a 80s, 60s, 70s comic book character that Stan Lee would have created.
That's true. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how she goes into the Jeffrey Epstein party, and instead of...
By the way, who wears lingerie like on a fucking CIA sting?
I don't know.
What? This bitch knew about this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, they acted surprised when them ladies came out. They knew.
No, they knew what was going on. But then she finds the secret entrance and doesn't go, well, shit, why don't I just call an entire team of people and have them come deal with this?
She Poe Dameron's it.
Yeah, she's got to do that shit herself.
Yeah, because that's how movies work. People don't use logic in film.
No, absolutely not.
Because then why would it be a movie?
It wouldn't be entertaining.
Exactly.
If they all did the right thing, it wouldn't be entertaining.
Yeah, and she basically learns about mutants and freaks out. And
yeah,
that's how we get
she
her.
She handles it pretty damn well.
Yeah,
I mean,
do you think you would have handled it that way?
No, I'd have been probably would have opened the door and been like, bro, teach me your ways. Like, can you guys teach me to do that?
It reminds me of my friend when I ask him about vampires. I used to have this really weird friend named James, and one time I asked him if he would want to be a vampire. He'd say, if I found out, this is how he talked, if I found out vampires were real, I would totally take 3 months off to lose a lot of weight and then totally let them bite me. Because I don't want to look like this. And he would move his doughy gut around. So your fat ass wouldn't make 3 months, dude.
I mean, at least he's got a plan.
Yeah, I'm proud of him. Fucking proud of him. Proud of you, James. He listens to podcasts. He will listen to this.
We get to see a car phone. She has a car phone.
Oh my god, it's like the future.
Oh yeah, I was like, I wrote that in the notes. I was like, car phone. I always, for some reason, I get excited in movies when they try and institute what should be old technology.
Hey, if Batman could do it, why can't they?
Oh hell yeah! Well, he's got the Bat credit card too.
I meant 60s Batman. 60s Batman had a phone in his car.
He did.
Yeah. I think it was rotary. No, it had one button on it, and it just called Commissioner Gordon. I don't know how.
I don't know. Probably.
So if she finds out mutants are real, basically, and decides to hunt down somebody who knows about mutants, and it happens to be Charles Xavier giving a thesis or something.
Yeah, he's giving a little like lecture thing or whatever.
I believe they specifically call it a thesis, David.
It was at this point. No, a thesis is the paper you write to get your master's degree.
I don't listen. I didn't write the fucking movie. All right. Apparently, Bryan Singer helped write it. He's fucking nuts.
Well, So it was
all
at this
coming
point
together.
in the movie that I noticed I really enjoyed the sets that they had built, like because you could tell it was poorly green screened,
Oh yeah, there were a lot of poor green screen.
but the set portions that they actually built that were up close to the camera were really just pleasant. Everything just was like very calm and serene and sort of nice.
It had that 60s Pleasantville kind of approach to it for the most part.
So I found myself actually just sort of enjoying
The scenery,
some of the detail.
Okay.
And maybe that's because we have higher resolution TVs now than when it came out. But I don't know. It's just all of it.
So basically, yeah, they go in and they do this whole spiel for the CIA, and nobody really believes them until Raven does her thing, and Oliver Platt loses his shit.
Yeah,
And,
I sort of like that scene though.
No, I love that scene. I also love them meeting Hank for the first time.
Yes.
Even though Nicholas Hoult, I love him, but I really feel like that should have been a bigger person.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Again, some of the liberties that they took with characters were just really lazy writing.
It was, but again, Nicholas Hoult is a great actor.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I love him. That's the only reason I like that Twilight zombie movie that they did.
Warm Bodies.
Warm Bodies.
I actually enjoyed Warm
That's
Bodies.
a very good movie.
Yeah. I'm not usually into rom-coms, and that was a good one.
It's a zom-com. That's why.
Uh,
I think they marketed it that way. I can't take credit for that. I think they marketed it like that.
They probably did. Whereas its predecessor, I would like to, I guess now like to think, Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
It was the tagline for that movie was "It's a romantic comedy with zombies."
And it was.
So,
yeah. So yeah.
So that you got to give it credit.
But this is more like this is a romantic comedy about zombies.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah, they took it to the next level.
Right. So.
I also noticed at this point that when Professor X is using his powers, he has to touch the temple of his head. He does it every single time.
It's kind of probably because them trying to show us that he's younger and kind of learning his powers.
Yeah,
I imagine.
I can see that, and that's sort of his focus tick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he doesn't really. Does he really do that? Does Patrick Stewart do that?
No. I mean, he does it every now and then.
Right. Maybe for like the long distance or like the things where he really needs to get in
when he's
there.
like really concentrating, he'll do it. But I mean, he has that like I'm touching my fingertips together in his wheelchair type stance sometimes when he does it. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just
Maybe
I never thought about it that way.
Maybe once he sat the fuck down, he was able to come up with a new tick.
I think that's what Cerebro does. Is it puts two fingers permanently on the sides of his head. That's what those big metal things are, and that's why it enhances his powers.
Two hands are always better than one. Your mother
Words
knows.
to live by. And then we get, because Hank is just building everything now.
Right.
Hank built everything.
He invented everything. Cerebro, the jet.
Hank invented Cerebro. Now, did Cerebro, or was Professor X the original creator of Cerebro?
I'm not sure, honestly. I'm not a Marvel guy.
I'm not either, but I've always thought that he invented Cerebro.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just always, maybe I just felt that way. I know Hank always worked on it.
It's kind of an idea that, like, in my opinion, I always thought the way they pushed it was that Magneto and Charles kind of worked on a lot of that stuff together.
Yeah.
You know, they built this whole, like, school and quote-unquote Xmen empire kind of thing, and then they just had different opinions of how to run it.
Yeah. I mean, that's always been there.
Oh, that makes sense.
Shtick.
Right, but I mean, that makes sense
still
when you
is.
have two different personalities in... Yeah, except one. Depending on what year in comics we're talking about, Charles is dead again, and Magneto is now kind of cool and working as an X-Man.
Yeah.
It depends on what year we're talking about.
I think it depends on what cost. Like, the year depends on what costume, but that's pretty much the story all the time.
White suit Magneto is good. Maroon suit Magneto is sometimes good.
Burgundy's always bad.
Listen, Burgundy in comics used to be that was a bad guy.
I know.
That was like the thing. Yeah.
That red association, I'm sure.
Is this at the point? Are we at the point where they go to the boat? Is it a boat? The boat?
No, well, sort of. It's happening simultaneously because he's
there's a lot of
reaching out
jump
with
cutting and fucking
Cerebro.
around.
Yeah, they're and
I thought the Cerebro thing was after they go to the boat.
yeah, it is
Yeah.
because that's how he finds. That's how he finds him on the boat.
Okay.
So they're going through all the future mutants.
Yeah.
And you see, and I actually wrote these down.
I did too.
You see Storm.
Uh-huh.
You see Cyclops. And that's about it.
Wait. How do you get Cyclops if his younger brother is going to eventually be an X-Man in this movie?
Who is older than him in this movie?
Right. That
Because you see a kid tossing a baseball into a glove, and he has on the big black sunglasses.
okay.
So I'm just assuming that
and
that's.
I didn't catch that. How old did he look in this movie?
Uh,
Because remember, he pops up in the 80s in Apocalypse, right? I think.
maybe 10 or 11.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
No,
Doesn't make any sense.
Oh, the timelines are all off, but I think our timeline is as well because I do believe you are correct. He's putting together the team
Right.
after they find him on the boat.
So they do
because
the boat,
he-
then the team.
Yeah,
Okay.
because he helps the FBI lady find them.
Oh, you know what? That makes sense.
Go to the boat to find him, and that's where he meets Magneto.
Because he meets Magneto, and then they do it together. So you're right.
Yeah.
You're fucking right. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we get that cool scene where we kind of get Shaw's kind of motivation.
Yeah.
Like he wants to he wants to blow up the world so that the mutants can survive and take over.
Yeah, and he keeps saying throughout the movie, and I think this is the first time he sort of like mentions it in passing. And I was like, maybe it's just a thing he says, and we'll see later on. But he claims that mutants are made by radiation.
You got to remember the 60s, the radioactivity and nuclear, all that stuff. That is a big fucking deal to people in the 60s. It was terrifying because they didn't know anything about that stuff. And then all of a sudden we're dropping fucking nukes on
everywhere.
Yeah, nukes on everyone's ass. Like that's terrifying.
Yeah, oh, I get that at the time that would have made sense.
Right.
But now we've got enough knowledge and understanding.
But this movie takes
X-Men.
place in that time.
But shouldn't he know?
No, because it's that time. It's the 60s.
How long has he been around? Because again, I'm basing this information on the comic background, not the movie. Cause
right.
Hank Henshaw.
And I don't think you're supposed to.
No.
I think you're supposed to base this off of the movie background. You're supposed to be thinking about the fact that this movie takes place in the 60s.
And only in the 60s.
And the thoughts.
Well, the 40s through the 60s.
Right. But we're supposed to kind of think in those characters' perspective.
Yeah.
Almost.
Because Hank Henshaw is technically immortal in the comics. The leader of the Hellfire Club, he's immortal.
I was going to say, Hank Henshaw is Cyborg Superman.
Sebastian Shaw.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's technically, like, in the comics, he's technically immortal. Like,
okay.
Nobody's really figured out how to kill him. He always seems to just randomly disappear and then reappear.
Yeah, so Hothead Magneto shows up and tries to kill Shaw, and we get January Jones just fucking just frowning throughout this entire fucking movie, just dead facing this entire fucking film.
And if they had fixed her hair, it wouldn't have been as bad. This is the point where I looked at her wig and went, that is awful.
You had something to say about the hair in this film.
Yeah,
So we've already talked about Mystique.
Mystique, I noticed it a little bit, but it's a child actor. We have better, TVs now than we did then. The definition's a bit higher than when the film was made.
Right.
So maybe I just never noticed. But the practical effects, again, like the scenery and all that stuff, I found done well.
Yeah.
Except for the hair. You get all of Mystique, suit looks great, and then you get to the hair, and it looks like this glued-on Dollar Tree wig. And I'm like, why? Did they run out of budget at her forehead? Like, what happened? And then I started noticing it everywhere, and I went, these look like cartoon hair.
Right.
It looks like they took the comic, and then I realized this whole movie is trying too hard to be as close to the comic as possible.
Yeah, and that can be a detriment.
And I was having a conversation with somebody else about it because I had to make sure I wasn't just crazy, you know.
Well, you are, but that has nothing to do with the film.
I found out that I was, and but we get a differential in comic book and movie costumes.
Right.
And I think the best, there's a word I'm looking for, the best example of this is in Luke Cage, the Netflix show.
Right.
When he breaks out of the insane asylum or the prison asylum
I
or
didn't
whatever
watch the
he's
show,
in,
so whatever you tell me, I'm going to believe.
he's wearing the old 70s Power Man suit
Kinda,
where he's got the white deep V, he's got the chains around the hands, the big gold chains around his neck, and he sees himself walking by like a car, and he goes, God, I gotta get new clothes. And so then he changes it,
Right,
and
to
we
the
get
modern.
him, to the just the jeans and the t-shirt.
But I mean, the later Luke Cage had that anyway.
Yeah,
the, comics, the
and
yellow shirt. And
the comics adapt it. When it gets too ridiculous for the era, they adapt it. But you still have goofy looking costumes if they were to be in the real world.
Right.
So this movie, they looked great if they were stuck in a comic, but they're not. They're in the real world. So
this is why they originally changed the suits to that leather look in the first film.
Which, again,
works.
Is a good fit. The suits in this one, they tried to make those classic colors and give it that color palette.
It kind of makes sense in the 60s. Everything was so colorful and goofy.
But it still doesn't look good.
No.
It didn't translate well, and I really felt like that took away from the characters that were there. The way they portrayed them made everything feel stiff and a little bit campy.
Depending on which character you're talking about, it had nothing to do with the outfits. It just had to do with the shitty actor.
And
January fucking Jones. I'm going to keep saying it. She's awful.
And there's a scene where she's walking into a Russian facility, and she is wearing that white poofy thing with the tall white Russian hat, which is actually one of my favorite covers when I worked at the comic shop. One of my favorite covers
know that cover.
Is her, and it's sort of a, almost a selfie style picture, and she's wearing that, and the cover's beautiful. It looks fantastic, and in this, it looks hokey as shit.
Just like the fucking CG to make her skin crystallize.
Oh my god, that was terrible.
Doggiest of all shits.
Yeah, and so but again, it looked like it should have been in a comic. If it was on paper, it would have been just another comic, and we'd have been okay with it. Sebastian
Shaw escapes on a submarine.
Yep, on a submarine, which Magneto can't pick up.
Right.
And that's
foreshadowing.
And now he's sad.
He's sad. Well, he's sad because Charles Xavier saved his life. By the way, so later in the film, I know I'm jumping ahead, but later in the film, when they open up the school, when they're getting the school put together and they go to the house for the first time, he says something to Magneto about having his best friend with him, and I'm like, y'all motherfuckers just met. Why don't you cut out the best friend shit?
We'll get to that scene. Okay. Actually, we can get to that scene now because we've discussed Cerebro, which was the next part where he's putting together the X-Men.
So he recruits.
We can't.
We have to talk about the recruits.
Oh yes, we do. Oh boy, do we have to talk about the recruits.
They meet Angel. In a strip club?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they go to a strip club.
Speaking of shitty CG, when those wings come out, that's fucking terrible.
How comes only sometimes does she have to take her top off to show the wings?
Because she's in a strip club. That's what they pay her to do.
But they weren't paying her to do that. And she did it anyway for absolutely no reason. And then later on, when she's showing people doing the exact same thing, wearing more, I would assume.
Yeah. Much
she can
more.
Do it just fine.
Isn't she wearing a jacket in that scene?
Yeah. So did she just really want to show Professor X and Magneto her boobs?
I like guys with accents. Here's my tip.
And you've got 3.
God damn it! Oh, I really like the Polish guy that sometimes sounds British and sometimes sounds Scottish. Ooh. What the fuck? Oh, shit. Also, Michael Fassbender loves turtlenecks, right?
Yeah,
Takes
oh,
roles only to
absolutely.
wear turtlenecks
I
because he
think
wears a turtleneck in this a lot.
someday he's gonna write a book, and every back dust
It's just
cover
gonna be him holding his chin
is
in a
gonna be a
turtleneck.
different scene from all of his movies. He's planned ahead. Is what he's done.
So yeah, we get her.
We get we get Pixie.
It's Pixie.
I can't
it's
even
fucking
say it.
Pixie.
I can't even
Because
say
when I
it.
was watching, I'm like, because I never really got this far. I was like, oh, it's Pixie. I know Pixie. Angel is what they call her. And I'm like, wait, no.
And it's only I think they tried to hide the fact that they're calling her Angel.
They only
because
use it like
mention
3
it
times,
once.
maybe. Yeah.
One time is what they mention it. And
Well, no, because they mention it in the scene where they're all coming up with their nicknames too.
yeah, that's the first time.
Well, no, she
doesn't-
tells them her name in the bar.
Does she?
She does.
Oh, see, I thought that was stripper name.
That's basically what she says in the.
Oh,
she says that's her dancer name in the scene where they're coming up with names.
Memories.
Yeah, basically. Because I know that was one that really bums you out.
It was the first time, again, I didn't hate this movie. It was just, it was mediocre. I enjoyed watching it for what it was.
Save it for the end.
And I get...
Great, you guys can turn it off now. Bye.
And
Bye,
I
guys.
said
You
that.
got-
That was the first thing I said.
Bye, guys.
And so
Bye.
I looked at it and went, God damn it. And I remember it bothering me the first time, too.
Right.
I remember noticing it. And I think I tried to explain it to you, but I couldn't nail down why I hated the whole Pixie character. Because it wasn't supposed to be Pixie,
Right.
even though it was Pixie. That's why.
They also introduced Darwin,
Which
the
is my
most
favorite character.
indestructible character in the Marvel Universe, unless it's this movie. Banshee, which I was so happy to see.
Yeah,
Because he's one of my favorites.
They did decent with him.
Fantastic. He looked similar to he had the hair and everything.
Yeah.
It was great. And Havoc, who doesn't belong in this film because his brother's younger than him, and that's wrong. It's wrong.
But Havoc doesn't ever really belong anywhere.
No,
a
Havoc's
shit
kind of
character
just
in the
a
comics.
shit character to add another character to the.
And might I add, he does not use laser hula hoops in the comics.
No, it's just a blast from his
torso
It's
area.
not necessarily his torso. I think it just kind of comes from his being or like his body. It just kind of manifests in front of him.
Yeah.
Is the idea is that he's collecting all this energy around him and blasting it forth.
Yeah.
But every iteration, because he was in Xmen Origins too, and every iteration has to have that.
He's got to have the belly button.
the giant
the belly button
mechanical
suit.
belly button. So they get these characters together really fast, and then Shaw comes to kill them almost immediately.
Yes. He shows up. He's the White Queen tells him they're recruiting,
Right.
and so he goes to murder everybody and does a damn good job of it.
Isn't the White Queen a DC character?
No.
Yeah, it's just Emma Frost. White Queen is a fucking. I'm telling you, that's a goddamn DC.
It might be,
character.
but Emma Frost is also known as the White Queen.
Is she? Okay.
Yeah. It's not her main name. It's sort of like what.
It's a Nikki name.
Yeah, it's what
Okay.
friends call her. I air quotes friends.
Because that's what I go around calling my friend. Oh, look, hey, it's the White Queen. I'm rolling my eyes. You can't see that on a microphone, but
Only the cocaine dealer.
so yeah, he shows up.
He shows
and-
up, murders the entirety of the CIA.
Right. Oh, that was really cool though. Azazel, how he just
Azazel.
kind of like pops in, grabs them, it teleports to the high up and drops them. Bye, Oliver Platt. It was nice knowing you, bud.
Yeah, I was so sad. He's that character that I was like, oh, why'd they do that one?
Right, you killed Happy Hogan, you motherfuckers.
So this
He's basically the
this
Happy Hogan
scene
of the movie.
is I think it's simultaneously one of my favorite scenes, but also one of my least favorite.
And only
scenes.
because of the one particular beat.
No, because and I'm gonna have to take a step back and say I'm genuinely not one to be this guy.
This guy meaning?
I'm not the woke bay, if you will.
I didn't know if you were gonna actually the movie yet.
No,
'Cause you're gonna
no.
actually in a minute.
What I'm yes I am going to actually very, very loudly and hard, but I try to not be the guy who points and screams racism at everything for absolutely no reason. I don't like to squint my eyes.
Remember, this film took place in the 60s.
I don't like to squint my eyes and shake my head in the dark and pretend that I see something that's not there.
Right, you don't give in to 4chan trolls. We
Yeah.
know this.
So when I watch this scene in this movie, it upsets me because they are genuinely using the token black characters as token black characters. The first mutant in the movie to die is a black guy. The other black character becomes bad.
Yeah. Is she black?
She's mixed.
Okay, I thought she was Spanish.
She's mixed, and I was like, did they really need to take both black characters out? The Darwin, again, being one of my favorite characters in this movie, the shortest lived, but also one of my favorites.
Right.
They're both just wasted, and they were fodder.
Also,
Script fodder.
wouldn't it have made more sense for Havoc to the way they introduced his character for him to join
Oh, absolutely.
Shaw?
It should have been literally anybody else.
Havoc. Honestly, it should have just been Havoc.
Yeah.
Because we can't have Mystique turn until she hears all the bullshit coming out of Magneto's mouth.
And Banshee couldn't do it because then he wouldn't have had the wingsuit.
Because Banshee's a fucking badass. I wish they did more with him in this movie, honestly.
I think they set him up for more in other movies that they just underutilized and never did anything
Was
with.
he in any of the other movies?
No, I don't believe so.
I haven't watched any of them. Because I couldn't get through this one. I actually quit watching after they told me. This is literally the scene that I stopped watching the movie. 2 times I've tried to watch it until today that I finished it. And both times I quit when they killed Darwin. Because he's the guy that can adapt to survive. Yet he cannot adapt to a fucking ball. By the way, Sean never uses this ability ever again.
Nope.
Which I feel like this is a good one.
Yeah.
I'd use this everywhere.
All
I'd
the
just be
time.
Dropping them, just fucking chucking them at people.
Yeah, there's actually basically 2 other Xmen that have that particular ability. Boom Boom, which generates small explosives out of her hands, and Jubilee.
Right.
Is similar.
Right.
I mean, close. She
Hers are
fireworks.
firecrackers.
Yeah, energy fireworks. But that's what this essentially is, a big old energy firework.
Yeah.
And so I want to play a game. I got a game.
Uh-oh.
Let's think of simple fixes to Darwin's problem.
Turn your stomach, your esophagus into fucking lead.
Turn the bottom half of your body into some sort of mist.
So it just drops
So
through?
it just falls through.
Literally turn into that thing that was inside of you.
Use Hank Henshaw, or God, I keep calling him Hank Henshaw. Use
Hank Pym. Hank Hill.
use Hank Hill's power.
Hank Williams Jr. Oh, hell, I'll get in there and whoop his ass.
Use Kevin Bacon's own power.
Bacon.
Absorb it and redistribute
Kevin Bacon's
it
power
somewhere.
is bacon.
Become 7 degrees hotter. That's his power.
7 degrees hotter.
Yes.
I don't get it.
How many degrees to Kevin Bacon?
Oh, god damn it. It's 6 degrees.
Oh, damn it.
You fuck.
I need an extra degree, okay?
You need to be 1 degree hotter than Kevin Bacon.
Exactly. See?
Right. You didn't know that logic until I gave it to you, son of a bitch.
No, but I'm glad we worked as a team to simply fix this problem.
To fix your fuck up?
That Darwin has.
Fix Matthew Vaughn's fuck up.
He has survived attacks from Galactus.
Right, and that's something.
And that's... Most people don't. Most people don't. And yet they just toss him aside. It's not even like it's a big grandiose thing. They don't... He's not like in the middle of the thing as a statue.
Right.
He turns into like the rocks. But apparently the character that we've been introduced to for 14 seconds, who seems like he could be interesting,
right,
who would probably be fun to write into a movie.
I would love to see the other things that he could do.
Yeah. Yeah,
like drop him into that situation.
It's infinite and allows you to use imagination.
Because I would imagine if he's falling from great heights, he could produce wings, maybe?
I mean, it would probably in his more true to his character would be like skin flaps would or he would just become lighter, or his bones would become flexible when he hit the ground.
So I mean, think of all the cool things they could have done with him throughout the film.
Yeah, he would have been a really fun character to watch, but we just sort of threw him away. Right. And I hate to be that guy.
It should have been Pixie killed. We're doing F, Marry, Kill, but like plot wise, it should have been Pixie that was killed, and Havoc that joined Shaw. Yeah, honestly,
absolutely, 110%.
Because first of all, they didn't really do much with Pixie after that.
No,
until the fucking climax of the film, and barely even then.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get all that. You get the killing. You get Hank. I almost called him Hank Henshaw. God damn it.
He's Cyborg Superman now.
He's Cyber. God damn it. No, we get Sebastian Shaw. Basically, he got the Americans to move their missiles closer to Russia. Now they're getting Russia to go to Cuba. The whole Bay of Pigs thing.
Yep.
It's all imminent. This is how he's going to start World War III and fuck the whole thing up.
Which is a fun scene. That again is the one where the White Queen is walking into in that gaudy, awful costume, and she's projecting herself doing the dirty with this guy, and she's actually just sitting there. Now, why she needs to wear the same outfit is beyond me. Why she didn't just put clothes back on?
It is what it is.
It would probably be cold. It's Russia.
Yeah,
everything's
Russia's cold.
So they walk in and they see this, and I sort of really enjoy that scene.
Right.
I just think it's funny to me. I don't know why. And then Magneto strangles her and almost breaks Diamond with the metal bedpost.
Yeah.
Can that happen?
No, well, that's what it is.
Did it even matter at this point?
At this point, no. Cut back to the they get to the mansion that we mentioned earlier.
Yep, now we've gone to the mansion.
We're doing a montage. They show us the danger room, and they do a lot of that cool stuff.
Now, I like this. My wife pointed out that she absolutely hated it. The scene transitions where they use the comic book, like...
Oh, yeah,
panels.
the Ang Lee panel transition.
I love it because it's hokey and fucking cheesy.
Right.
But apparently it takes away from the movie for most normal people.
Yeah, well, if she's ever seen Star Wars, we know all about fucked up weird transitions, okay?
We need all the wipes.
Right. Every wipe imaginable. I think George Lucas even invented some of those wipes because he ran out of wipes.
He sells them as an Adobe Premiere starter kit. You want to make the school news? Here's all your wipes you'll ever need.
Come get my wipes. George Lucas's wipes. Misa love wipes. You so want a wiper? Me, I got a wiper. How wooed.
Oh. Jesus. It's a little too real. So yeah, we also run into the Wolverine cameo.
Oh, I forget. We walked right all over that because it's just 2 seconds and you miss it. If you blink, you miss it.
And they were like, we really need to drop our one F-bomb on this.
They didn't because they've never done that before.
I know.
We're getting edgy now.
Well, they can keep it PG-13. They're only allowed one.
Right.
So they did.
I've seen Be Cool.
That was their one.
They explained that in the movie Be Cool.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. John Travolta and... Never mind. It's a different movie.
Everybody gets one.
Everybody gets one, Peter.
Okay, so the scene where he's telling... Or they get to the mansion, and he's explaining... He's like, oh, so sad that you grew up in such hardships. And Mystique runs up and is like...
Oh, this is weird.
Yeah, like it doesn't fit anywhere in the movie. This whole scene is just out of place. So she runs up and she's like, he spent all the time with me, blah, or the hardships with me, and blah, blah, blah. And then he, leans over and hugs her and kisses her on the cheek, and they, walk off arm in arm. And my wife goes, were they ever lovers? And I was like, no.
They considered each other brother and sister.
And they make it very clear early on that they aren't a thing.
Right.
And he is not attracted to her in any way. So I'm like, the whole thing just didn't feel... It almost felt like they shot this for an alternate movie where they're actually together. And then they were like, just leave it. Just leave it.
Cut to 2019 and this would have been they would have had to do a PSA at the end of the movie. Hello, I'm Patrick Stewart. I think it's okay to like blue women. Everybody's lovely in their own way.
Only Avatar, though.
Not even. Because they don't even fuck with penises and vaginas. They fuck with hair, David.
It's 2019. Hair can be penises, too.
My hair identifies as a penis. No.
So that's... I actually
Beast
stopped.
is like, look, we have serum. We can be normal now. Let's be normal.
Yep,
because my toes bother me.
They basically build the ramshackle danger room.
Yeah.
Which is a nuclear fallout shelter.
It's kind of like a montage building up to that because they give Banshee a suit and, you know, Charles is basically going, it's all in your head. You can do it. Like, this is a muscle. This is a muscle. Your dick's a muscle. Muscle the muscles. It's really it. Like, there's not much to explain there. It's just, we need these characters to be able to use their powers without any problem by the end of the movie, so we're going to go in 2 minutes and give it to you.
There's a line after this. She goes, look what we've accomplished in a week. And I went, a fucking week?
A fucking week!
So then we get the news report.
Mm-hmm.
There's a news report that they're moving missiles to Cuba.
Right, and that the Americans, we're going to stop.
And Magneto gets all hard because he knows he's going to go get to fight his Nazis. And
Jesus, Charles, I'm going to go fight them. It's time to fight them, Charles.
Wait.
Embrace it, Charles.
Wait, weren't you German a minute ago?
Shit, he's got me.
So we get, it's fairly anticlimactic.
Fucking super anticlimactic.
And then we get what Battleship should have been.
Well, no, let's before we get there, there's 2 scenes that you have to set up before we get to them going out.
Do we?
There are, because you've got the Beast going to her with the serum.
Yep.
And he says some fucked up shit.
Yeah, like that, again, that was sort of out of nowhere for him.
Yeah, because it seemed like he was cool with her no matter what, and then he's like, people, with your natural skin and with my feet, what, you put on shoes, bitch. Like, the fuck is your fucking problem?
And he
put on some fucking shoes. Like, I wish I could jump that fucking high. What the fuck is wrong? Get the fuck out of here.
Put on those pumps.
I'm not even from New York.
Put on those
I get
pumps.
pissed off. Yeah, put on your fucking self-lacing Nikes, you fucking Marty McFly son of a bitch. The fuck? Oh, I turned into a dice man all of a sudden. So yeah, she changes from the blue to the normal Mockingjay, whatever the fuck her name is.
Yeah,
and
she becomes the girl
Katniss
on fire.
Everdeen. Yeah, there it is. And he's like, that you're more beautiful like that. And I'm like, this motherfucker.
Like, dude, that was sort of a dick move.
Right. So immediately she's like, well, fuck you. I'm gonna go fuck Magneto. And she shows up in his bed
immediately.
And this is where the meme. I didn't know where that meme came from. The whole "show me the real Raven" or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
And he's like, perfection. That's from that.
Yeah.
I thought it was. I always thought, because of the turtleneck, I always thought it was from Steve Jobs. Honestly, I didn't know that fucking Michael Fassbender just had a thing for turtlenecks.
Nah, yeah, he does.
Yeah, he's like fucking. I think he's got own stock in fucking turtleneck.
Do you think that's why? That has to be why he went out for Steve Jobs, because he's like,
fuck. I get to get paid to wear
one up.
Fucking neck.
I get one up the only other person who was as intimate with turtlenecks as I am.
Yeah, and that was Ashton Kitchenens. Ashton Kitchenens. This is the second time this guy's popped up in our podcast, by the way, Ashton Kutcher.
Anyway, we get the serum scene,
and
then we get having sex with Magneto.
She shows up and she's like, "Hey, that guy with the weird fucking feet don't like me no more. Do you want to fuck?
You want to get in this?"
Which totally makes sense. I can see them having been in a relationship at some point when you watch the original.
Isn't Azazel's Nightcrawler's dad. Yeah.
Oh, what did I write? Oh, Raven's into that mutant anarchy shit Eric's been pushing.
Hell yeah.
Now they're like, we need to get serious and go to fucking the waters and fight this whole embargo bullshit.
Yep. Get a good night's sleep. I'll be boning blue chicks in the back room.
No, but also you have to set up the fact that like it's instant karma because he says that shit about her being blue, and then he injects himself. Hank injects himself and immediately fucking turns blue.
Now in the comics,
It's just recessive, right?
He keeps trying it on himself, and you can see the iterations between the artists. They draw him the way they like to draw him.
Right.
So like at one point he looks more like a cat, like he's like a lion guy, and then we get the classic Beast where he's got the like
with the
devil
weird
wings.
Yeah, he's got the Wolverine hair, which is like a big deal back then, I guess, because every comic book character had that.
And between the iterations, they allow this because he just keeps trying the serum to revert back to his original weirdo form.
Right.
And
fat, muscular dude.
Yeah, it just keeps changing,
not
basically.
Nicholas Hoult.
But I do like the fact that he made that serum from Mystique's DNA, which probably is why he's blue.
Right, it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
But, and this is the last time I'm going to revert to my notes, and then we're going to knock out that ending. I wrote, BCG fucking disgusts me. Fucking disgusts me.
Can I do a little callback to the beginning of the episode?
Go on.
He's covered in hair. If it's hair in this movie, it's bad.
But it's not even just hair. It's CG. The face, when he's talking, it's awful. It's just fucking awful.
Oh, yeah.
This episode's brought to you by Screaming Children.
She just saw Beast.
She saw the fucking CG.
Yeah, again, he's covered in hair. It's CG hair, but it's still hair in this movie. It's got to be bad.
Right. And now, we've got the big thing. Now we
have the climax.
Right, they've gotten in their suits. They're fucking doing their thing. Hank Henshaw. God damn it, David! You motherfucker! Fuck you and fuck Max Landis. So Sebastian Shaw. Now we know he's going to basically turn himself into a bomb using radioactive rods.
Yeah, he's going to become he's sending the thing across the embargo line. They've killed everybody on the ship, so it's just on autopilot. The Russians are like, no, guys, we're not. We told them to stop.
Right.
But
well, Azazel goes onto that ship too. Yeah.
And then the Americans are like, fuck you guys. We don't care if you told them to stop. We're gonna kill y'all anyway, because America. Fuck you. So then the Russia or the Professor X does his little Jedi mind trick, and
I thought this was pretty cool.
Controls the guy to fire on their own ship,
right.
Which everybody's already dead anyway, so he hasn't murdered anybody.
And then we get one of 3 lines from Azazel.
Yep,
which is like that. Oh shit or something like that.
Something along those lines. We get they fired on their own ship. Now, Hank Henshaw.
God, now you're doing it on purpose. You son of a bitch.
Now he's like, well, fuck this. I'll become the nuclear bomb.
Right.
So he's charging his lasers on the thumbnail things.
And so they're all kind of. It basically is that Area 51 raid where everybody was like, we're gonna do this shit, and then they just stood at the gate for hours on end. And just stood there.
Yeah,
that's
pretty much.
That's what the Americans and the Russians are doing.
Yeah,
the Russians are like, we might do it, and America's like, I hope they fucking do it.
So we've seen now a UFO because they come in on the X-Jet.
Yeah, which is totally fucking crazy in 1960. What?
Yeah,
7.
Nobody's phoning into anybody else going, we have a black jet that hovers, which is not technology we have. Thank you. So there's the Mexican standoff between Russians and Americans, and then
Banshee jumps out of the fucking jet.
Yeah, they're doing the sky fighting. That's what it is. So Hank McCoy.
Good.
We got our Hanks now.
Dang it, Bobby.
Hank McCoy is piloting the jet. This whole scene is really cool. The action, the visuals, it's pretty cool. So we get the dog fight between Pixie and Banshee. We
right.
get the jet dog fight. Havoc's useless
as usual,
and falls into the water, and
Banshee has to go save his ass.
Banshee has to save him. Don't know how he's flying with one arm down.
Especially because she shoots or she acid spits one of his wings.
Yeah,
Also,
so he's that's when he starts falling.
Right, but I'm just saying. So you got one arm indisposed, and the other arm is now the one arm, and then she acid spits it, and he fucking goes down like a rock.
Yeah. So they now they're wet, going to the beach.
Well, I'm wet anytime Michael Fassbender's on the screen. So.
And
legitimately, the best part of this movie is Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
100%. If there's any, I would have loved to seen that movie that they were planning on doing if they would have gotten him in the first place.
Yeah, if they had extended him learning his powers by hunting Nazis, that'd have been a fucking badass movie. Done it,
magnetic bastards.
Done it like Logan style,
right?
Where it's super grainy and everything's super hardcore,
right?
Yeah, that'd have been an awesome movie. But we didn't get that movie.
Well,
we got
instead
this
we
one.
got the PG-13 schlock that included the things that we kind of thought were neat.
Yeah, we got this one. So they lift the proverbial submarine, which is an actual submarine,
right? That scene was really neat.
Yeah.
Because you're going, he fucking did it!
Yeah!
Yay!
You're rooting for him.
Magneto!
You're rooting for everybody. I mean, we enjoy these characters.
The last time you root for Magneto.
I don't know.
No?
I mean, later on in other movies, he's sort of.
I meant in this film.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So he lifts the submarine. They throw it on the beach. It breaks apart. The tornado guy who says literally nothing
has the best hair in the film.
Yes,
the hair budget went to him.
Yeah, pretty much. He ate everybody else's hair and assimilated it.
That's his power, actually.
Hair.
He's not creating tornadoes. He's creating hair
nados.
Hair nados.
So
coming to sci-fi.
Hair NATO. I could have sworn up and down they killed this dude because they hit him with the side of a submarine.
Nah.
And later on, he's standing there like nothing happened. And I'm like,
the only people that are going to die in this film are humans and the one guy that shouldn't have fucking died.
And
didn't you pay attention? That's what I'm saying.
It drives me crazy.
Listen,
don't be blatant.
Stop 2019ing it, man.
Don't be blatant.
Listen, I'm less mad that they killed off the one black guy in the film, and I'm more mad that they killed off the one guy that's supposed to adapt to survive.
I know, and the casting was beautiful on it.
Right.
He was great.
He's great. He looked like the black version of that character with hair. He was so sallow and kind of small, skinny.
Yeah, he was great. Again,
is that the dude from Twilight? Have you ever seen Twilight?
I have not.
I think he might be one of the vampires, the Jamaican vampire. They didn't do much with it. They killed him off in the first film, too.
Maybe it's just him. Maybe he's just a dick.
Kevin Bacon ended up killing him in another movie.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, what's that movie? Death Sentence.
He needs -1 degrees. He's in 2 movies with Kevin Bacon.
2 fucking movies with Kevin Bacon. If this is the same guy, I might not know what the fuck I'm talking about.
It probably isn't.
I think it is.
Okay. Fingers crossed. So,
David automatically knows that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, so he just jumps on that quick. It's not him. You're an idiot. Move on.
I don't know. Could be.
Move on. Fuck you. You don't know what you're talking about.
So then we get the fight that to end all fights, right?
Yeah, which was really cool.
Yeah, it was a cool scene. I actually really enjoyed the scene.
He confronts Sebastian Shaw in the crystallized room.
Yep.
Which I assume was made of the flesh of the White Queen.
I can only hope that he skinned her every night.
I really hope so too, because she's off. Can somebody please just put a bullet in January Jones's head? I don't mean that.
They can't because they can't shoot through diamond.
I mean in real life. I was being honest here.
Don't put hits out on actors. You know our audience takes that seriously.
Listen,
all one of them.
I don't want to be a madman. Here, she was in Mad Men, or The Last Man on Earth. Here, well, she was in The Last Man on Earth.
Is Gary writing that?
And I don't want to be a politician. She was also in the television program The Politician, which is on Netflix right now. Just watch it, people. Watch that fucking show. It's super dramatic and stupid, but it's amazing.
I'll do that.
Politician on Netflix.
Weeknights on NBC.
Barely starring January Jones, so it is good.
Yeah.
She's only in it for a little while, and she's a whore that married Dylan McDermott for his money.
Neat.
Yeah,
They sweep her in the
it's
background.
the only reason to marry Dylan McDermott.
In real life.
Yeah, in real life. Not even in television, TV land. It's in real life.
So now the world, meaning America, has decided that they should kill all the mutants.
Russians too. They're all working together on this bit.
But they showed the war room from how I learned to stop.
Dr. Strangelove.
Yeah, Dr. Strangelove.
You can do it.
I can't remember the first part and how I learned to start loving the bomb.
I don't remember either.
I don't remember the first part, but I love that movie. There's no fighting in the war room. It's the same room.
Right.
And so...
Unless it's a fucking pie fight.
Oh, man. If only. So now
that
we've
made
decided...
This movie so much better.
If it just ended in one big pie fight...
One big pie fight.
So now we've got... all the world is hating on the mutants. We've given a common enemy to these weirdos.
And now Michael Fassbender gets to do the only thing that he took on the Magneto role for. He Magneto monologues.
Yep.
Brothers, mutants, we need to come together.
Make maybe some sort of island somewhere, and then my daughter can murder everybody. It'll be great. Let's do this.
I say, Charles, no more mutants. That's what she'll say.
And then he'll slap his wife.
She's the future, Charles.
So we get...
Shut up, Wesley. Sorry, I had to do it once.
The scene where they shoot all the missiles and bullets.
That was cool, too.
And he catches them.
He Neos them.
He catches them and
Wow.
starts to send them back. Mm-hmm. And now we have the worst bro fight ever. Where they roll around on the ground.
Just slap fighting.
They're slap fighting each other, rolling around on the ground. Don't make me hurt you! Ah, my hair!
I want to tell Mom.
And so the FBI lady, who's
CIA.
the FBI lady,
She's CIA.
who's
Who doesn't really matter though.
Who's
Moira
seen a lot, and this was apparently her breaking point.
This is it.
And she starts firing blindly, and
he's just blindly
Magneto's deflecting
him.
the bullets, and then Professor X dance poses in the background, which apparently hurts his back. Yeah, Michael Jackson's on his tiptoes in the background, and it hurts his back real bad. We don't know the outcome yet because we haven't seen the next movie.
Poor Charles.
So now Magneto is holding Charles, and he looks down and he goes, "She did this to you," and he said, "Nope.
It was definitely you, asshole.
You were being a dick.
Yeah, you're being a complete asshole.
And now I'm mad at you. You're not coming to my birthday. You've been uninvited." And Magneto's like, "You know what? I know I just almost murdered you. Time to leave."
Yep. We've got different opinions on what we're doing here. Let's go.
We differ on opinion. That means you deserve to die.
But no, I want to see that movie too. I'm not... Magneto, I'm not inviting you to my birthday party. But Charles, there's got to be ponies.
Not for you.
You're not riding the ponies. Shut up, Magneto. You're not riding the ponies.
And there's going to be a cotton candy machine.
Oh, Charles, you didn't have to tell me about the cotton candy machine. You son of a bitch.
I'm taking my party to an island somewhere.
I wanted cotton candy, Charles.
I just wanted the cotton candy.
If I could just get one bite at the snow cone machine. Just give me one. Let me get one ball of ice.
You shot me in the spine. Never. So then we get Professor X in his wheelchair, and she says...
a wheelchair that shouldn't exist in 1968.
Magneto built it for him. I don't know.
Did he?
No.
Oh. It was definitely Hank.
Yeah. Oh,
he builds everything.
Clearly. So
he couldn't build him a new fucking spine?
Then
Thanks a lot, Hank.
What? Pretty much over at that point.
There's one scene that I'm trying to think of. There's like a kind of a end stinger. I probably wrote it down.
She tells them they're an Xman.
She does say that.
Yeah, she says, "Hey, and looks directly at the camera and says, "You guys should be the X-Man."
Oh, okay. So no. Fuck no. So no. Now they love each other, right? This is what I wrote. I said I wasn't gonna do the notes anymore, but I have something here. Charles Superman 2's Moira with a kiss.
That's true.
Yeah, he
That's
wipes
true.
her memory, and then she goes back to the CIA.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't remember anything, and here's this line:
Yep. And that's why the CIA
"Is no place for a woman." Thanks, 1960s.
Oh.
And then Magneto goes to the CIA and frees Emma Frost, and that is the end of the film.
Oh, okay, yeah. We put together our bad boy team.
Yes.
You want to wear black leather jackets and beat things with sticks.
Do you want to fly around like me with the magnetic fields and then kidnap a guy that looks like Jerry Springer and put him in a machine and turn him into water?
Yes. That's exactly what I wanted to do.
This is what you wanted, Charles. You didn't let me have the snow cone, you son of a bitch.
Now I've got the Brotherhood.
With one girl. She's a brother, too.
Nope. Multiple girls.
Yeah, Emma Frost and
Angel's still in there.
Pixie.
Ixie.
Pangel.
Pangel. There we go. That'd have been way cooler.
So, to ask the age-old title of the podcast, does this movie suck? I wouldn't say that it sucks, but it's not good.
Yeah, it's
a movie.
It's not life-changing if you want to throw it on in the background while you're cleaning or something.
Absolutely
cool.
not.
Yeah.
No, that's what like Rent or like a musical is for me.
Or Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, if I put on Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm sitting my ass on the floor and paying attention.
Oh my god, that soundtrack though.
Come a little bit closer.
That's
the sequel, but still, it's a good soundtrack. Both soundtracks, both films.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they made the soundtrack first and then built the film around it.
No, James Gunn literally says that's how he wrote the movie. Is
Thank
that
God.
because if you go back and analyze it was his mother trying to tell him that his dad was an alien.
Okay.
It's about a lost love and all this stuff. Like analyze that shit, man. Obviously, it's what I do. And I think James Gunn's come out and said this.
Probably
Publicly at this point. He's also said other god-awful things about young boys and things like that, too. But, the internet.
Yeah, well, not all jokes land. Especially when you don't have inflection or context.
Well, thanks for joining us this week on Does This Movie Suck? And join us next week to find out if that movie may or may not suck and blow.
It probably will.
Maybe. Who knows? God damn it. Fuck you, machine!